Well, the idea for redistricting in general is to make sure that everybody's vote is heard. The 2 precincts on the eastern part of the county have a much greater population than the 2 precincts on the west side of the county. And every 10 years, it's good practice to balance that out and reshape the districts to where they all have about the same population. They kicked this process off in March. My concerns today are the same as they were when this process started on March 1st. They put in place the advisory committee for redistricting. The 2 commissioners that they put on this committee just so happen to be the 2 commissioners that are up for re-election.
And when we have a committee, for example, of those up for re-election and the heads of their political parties, it's important to have other citizens on there to counterbalance that.
I feel that the people that are directly involved in this redistricting should not have been on that committee.
That none of them stood up for what the purpose of redistricting is and said, we will get others in here to ensure that this purpose is carried out.
And it should have been somebody neutral that has no interest in it to better themselves.
And then they talk about troublemakers that want to come in and raise issues about it, as if...
Are you a troublemaker, Sam?
Well, when I have a reason to be.
I would like to say how disgusted I am with some of the commissioners that have been so dismissive of the citizens of Hays County.
But, you know, what it does is it says we don't have to listen to anybody who doesn't agree with us because they're just troublemakers.
I think attacking those who would bring valid concerns about something is something that we do not want in our elected officials.
As often as they said up front that this was going to be open and we're going to get citizen participation, you know, there's still some questions on whether or not that's really happening.
The thing that I think is really, really important is that we have a fair and open public process. Yeah. And that's not something that it looked like was happening right from the beginning.
I would like to express my disappointment and utter disbelief at the complete lack of transparency in the process of redistricting.
A lot of people made a lot of noise about some of the advisory committee meetings being closed.
And then there were some citizens that wanted to attend one of their committee meetings, and they were put out.
While advisory committees are not required to be open, why wouldn't you have the process open?
You know, you would think that if they were a government meeting, that it would be open to the public, even if the public couldn't comment on it.
After what's been going on with the secret meetings behind closed doors, they can feel a little bit like a mushroom. I've been kept in the dark.
Hey, you got to keep this above board. And if you can't keep this above board, then yeah, every piece of the outcome is going to be suspect.
Give us some ideas to go look and go back to Steve, our map guy.
You know, they put the maps up and then we can ask questions. But it doesn't really get to, are these the maps that we need to have? Even the ones from the different people, they all look pretty similar, and that's concerning to me. It's an illusion of choice.
And what's happening now is I've got a couple of commissioners that stay in office and keep themselves elected have gerrymandered me into a precinct that I don't want to be in, or my neighborhood for that matter. So, thank you.
I mean, when I look at these maps, I'm like, it appears that others have played political games in the past, and we're just kind of stacking on top of them. Is we don't necessarily have to build on this history we have. We can take a fresh look at it.
Redistricting shouldn't be about politics, or roads, or even water, or even what this commissioner's court wants. It should be about the people.
We want to make sure people are getting represented the way they want to be represented in their local communities.
That whoever their county commissioner is somebody that's going to be responsive to their needs.
Theoretically, you would put communities of interest together.
If you draw a line that's more conducive with the way we view ourselves, that makes us happier.
The concept of communities of interest is key to effective redistricting.
You know, if I'm on a well, which I am, I tend to want to be represented by somebody that understands being on a well.
we don't have light communities. We are stretching it out long and thin, and that doesn't make sense.
Well, redistricting's going to hurt and cause problems no matter what we do.
There is no perfect map. When this thing is done, there will always be people that don't like some part of it.
But they never go back to the point where all of the problem began, which was when they created that committee and did not balance the power of the committee.
And I don't think these maps reflect the kind of work that needs to be done, because we have to live with these maps for 10 years.
Things you do now have enormous effects on things 10 years from now.
I mean, when the heads of the political parties and the current people in power and the newspapers control how we get redistricted and who can be voted into any precinct, then that's an aristocracy. It's a control by a limited few. It's not representative government.
Rather than securing my and your voting rights, it's securing the positions of the parties, and it's securing the re-electability of the two commissioners that are up for re-election in 2012. So that's actually taken away, to some extent, our own voice. If they're accommodating them, they're not accommodating us.
Get involved, get up, talk to your neighbors, talk to your community, but get involved.
On the 16th of August, they intend to approve a final redistricting map. We want them to stop this process and begin getting serious citizen input before they go any further with it.